What's going on YouTube? It is me, Milza, and welcome to the channel. Now today I'm going to be doing my first ever 25 subscriber special. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, what I want to do for this special is basically give you a little insight to who I am, what I intend on doing with the channel, and more privy to this video specifically, why I almost quit.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
Now, I think to understand why I almost quit YouTube, despite just starting, despite not even really doing this a full year, also really important for me to explain what made me start YouTube in the first place. The reason that I started YouTube initially is just because I've always been like super into YouTube, and I just mean like YouTube as a platform or YouTube as, entertainment. I've always been just into the idea of being a YouTuber, always been into the idea of being able to come somewhere and basically have any genre of entertainment that I want at my hands at all times. And I think my most favorite part about it has always been the ability for me to come on here and learn so many different things without having to, jump through a whole bunch of windows or to jump through a whole bunch of hyperlinks. YouTube is essentially a place where you can escape from a lot of things and also learn from a lot of things. And I know for me growing up, like anytime I was going through something, or anytime I wanted to learn something about something, YouTube was the first place I went to. And the only reason I have not started YouTube earlier or didn't start YouTube earlier was mainly because, if I have to be completely honest, I never had the money to actually start. Never had the money, had low self-esteem about having my face on camera, about how people would think my voice would sound, and all these other small things that don't matter to me as much now that I'm older. But being a young person, it was really, a younger person, it was really hard for me to get my mind wrapped around putting myself on the internet permanently or even temporarily. I'm starting it up now mainly because I never actually wanted to have a regular kind of career or a regular 9-to-5 job. I always wanted to either work in some type of art form, whether it be video games as an art form or manga and anime as an art form. I always wanted to do something in that. I've always been fascinated by animation, always been fascinated by video games, and these were always something that were just core passions of mine. And I always wanted to intermingle those things with my second core passion, which has been history. I'm a really big history buff. I do not like it when people make blank statements, especially in this past election, right? You have a lot of people making blank statements about people and things and ideologies without historical context, which is how we get to the present, right? And I care about a lot of those things, and I always wanted to intermingle those things into what I did for a living. But when you look at the world structure and society that we have now, society does not value these things in any tangible way, really. I mean, sure, I could have went to school and become a history teacher, but then I would be trading, working in my passion for, a standard of living that I'm just I was not willing to go into debt for. For the bigger part of my childhood, I pretty much rationalized that in order for me to be able to ever fund doing something like that I would actually genuinely wanted to do, I needed to assimilate to society and work on being something in society that's useful, or I don't want to say useful. A better word would be profitable. Work on being something in society that is profitable and is seen as a general need. And I looked at the current trends around me in my life, and I decided that computers were going to be the future and probably the longest lasting career path that I would have, because with advanced technology, other things kind of fall off the bandwagon. And so that led me to where I am today, where I have a degree in computer engineering. And so that's what I do for a living, basically, systems engineering and all that kind of thing. Big Linux buff. So yeah,
Boy.
that is what I do for a living. And I had always intended to get a really good job in this space so that I could fund doing this in some form or fashion, because I have always wanted to work in this space just because I've always had a lot to say, but never the platform or the importance or the look of somebody who should have important opinions or things that matter to anybody. So that is like the end all be all of why I want to start YouTube and how I've gotten to where I've gotten. But back to the title of the video. The thing that almost made me quit YouTube was the fact that now I had decided I was going to do this, and I had severely underestimated how difficult content creation is. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I'm by no means like saying that, you know, like they're like content creators like aren't like, in my opinion, probably vastly overpaid or like, you know, an extremely niche job, so to speak. But we're slowly growing out of that. My biggest problem going into it was that I didn't realize that, especially with the way the new algorithm works, things are so much different than how it appeared to me on the outside being younger. Now, when I was younger, it seemed like random discoverability on YouTube was mostly still a thing. And now that the algorithm has kind of been fine-tuned to, you know, be as specific and niche to each person, and it has been, you know, pruned and clipped in such a way that it is transferable across multiple different platforms, it's an entirely different beast. And so now, instead of, you know, just being a guy with a camera in a room who's like willing to put himself out there, those type of creators still do exist and still, you know, do make it. Nowadays, it's extremely competitive, and you have to be willing to have some competitive edge. It is not so much so that like pure passion and just like intellect on a subject or skill in a video game will get you noticed. There's a certain element of like mastering content creation, mastering, you know, how to get people to watch a video up to a certain portion, how to, you know, use analytics to your advantage, and all these other things that you have to learn how to do. And I'm not saying that earlier YouTubers who started before me like did not do that, but I do think it is a whole lot different from before than how it is now. Like, everybody has a good camera, everybody has a good microphone, everybody has well edited videos, and there's almost like an upfront cost to this whole thing. And that's a topic for another video. But needless to say, it's not, you know, just any man's game anymore, unless you are making just like super niche, super entertaining content off the bat. Then that's different. And so my initial mistake was thinking that I could start at myself as a variety type of person without having the brand or the following or the stature behind me in my career as a YouTuber. And it cost me dearly. It cost me weeks and months of time that I will not get back, because I was basically making content and competing against people who were able to do variety content because they had spent the years beforehand building a niche, building a community around a certain subject, and then as they grew, molding their content to their growing audience. I essentially was trying to start at the finish line. I want to say that again. You cannot start at the finish line of someone else's success. And when you do that, you essentially are, you know, you're an ant and you're like competing against like someone's heel, because you don't understand the scope of what you're actually doing and what you're actually going against. And that's what I was doing. I'm like making variety content as if I'm like Asmongold or Moist Critical or Ludwig or any of these other people who were like these massive like variety content creators who just basically talk about like, you know, regular issues in society or video game drama, whatever. I'm making videos like this without the, you know, repertoire and the history behind me. And that cost me a lot of time, and it had to do a lot of soul searching, because when you start off so passionate the way I did, and it's really discouraging, and I wanted to quit because I felt like I wasn't getting a fair shake, and I was completely wrong. And so what I ended up doing, I said, you know what, it's been 2 or 3 months, I'm stuck at like 9 or 10 subscribers, and I need to figure out a way to make myself stick out, make myself gain some traction. And the way the algorithm kind of works, I don't want to get into the whole thing in this video, but basically it puts you in a sample size. It sees how you perform in that sample size. And every time you don't perform, your video basically gets killed, especially early on in the beginning, because you don't have anybody who's like looking for you. The algorithm's trying to figure out where you're supposed to go, and every single time you put out a video, it's a test in the beginning to see who is going to watch this, who's going to even click on it for that matter. And so thumbnails, metadata, just like production value of the video, these things matter because the game is all about clicks. And so I didn't understand that. I just thought that, you know, if I was charismatic enough, or if I, you know, said something that enough people agreed with, somehow they would magically find the video and click on it. That's not how it works. There is a marketing element to this. There is a kind of businessy element to this that I was not prepared for. And that was like naive of me, admittedly, but it's part of the game. It's part of learning, you know, if you want to do something, you have to educate yourself on what it takes to do it. In order to get over this hump, I decided to learn how to edit better, learn how to talk to a camera better, learn how to, you know, make thumbnails that are engaging and make titles that, you know, are clickable, in the sense that they are search engine optimized, in the sense that they are, you know, giving somebody that kind of light bulb that says, I wonder what this is about. And educating myself on all those things that people are doing, and then going and seeing successful people and taking something that they do and either using it for myself or adding like a small twist to it so that I can kind of learn from it, see what works and what doesn't. And so after I studied all these things, I gave myself a break, because up to this point I had been uploading like 3 videos a week, 2 like garbage reaction videos when no one knows who I am and doesn't really care about what I'm saying, and then 1 like original opinion piece, content piece. And some of those I still have up if you want to check them out. They're pretty bad, but I mean, again, this is like my first time being on camera really at all. Like, I'm obviously pretty comfortable talking in front of people, but again, the social media element of this, the fact that I am a media outlet on my own, in the sense that how YouTube interacts with a uploader and a creator, and how they intend to, you know, disperse you in the media space. After doing that, I basically just studied all those things, and I said I'm going to give myself a solid month to just work on a video, and I refused to post it until I felt like I would watch this. And this is something that I use even now. Like, if I'm watching my own video and if in the first 30 seconds I'm picking up my phone, I scrap the video, because obviously I was not engaging enough. I was not adding enough like jokes here and there to get people engaged. I was not giving out a good product. I did that for a month. When I finally put out the video that kind of gave me a little bit of, you know, lift, a little bit more engagement, that was a turning point for me to say that despite the slow burn that this probably will be for me, I'm not going to quit, because I can do it. I'm capable. It just takes more work than I was anticipating, and that's okay. And to this day, this video has, you know, 800 plus views, and that's not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. But I've only been making YouTube videos essentially since the end of July. And I've had like my camera break on me in between that. I've had all these other things that I've been trying to like set up in between, and all that stuff, and was still, you know, trying to get better. Even this early, I was still trying to like figure out what to do, still trying to reevaluate everything I was doing. At the end of the day, it really just came down to me like looking at the stuff I was making and really like realizing that it was garbage. I mean, it was flat out garbage, because I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea the nature of the beast, so to speak, that I was entering. And when I made that video, it all clicked kind of what I need to do. Admittedly, so that video like got a lot of like negative response too, because I didn't like a game, or not that I didn't like a game, I did not like the direction that I saw the game heading in. And that probably boosted the numbers a little bit more, but at the same time, I made something that people engaged with, whether they liked it or not. That's the key thing here, is to make things that people engage with, make things that people want to watch, that they want to click on, that they want to leave a comment on. And learning that has been the biggest thing for me. And that's why I almost quit, is because I didn't realize that that's what it's all about. I want to be entertaining. I want to, you know, divulge information to people. I want to share my opinions on things. But at the end of the day, if the content's not good, no one's going to watch it. But with that being said, my current plans for the channel are to, one, try my best and my hardest to hit 100 subscribers before the end of the year. I know some people take 2-3 years even to even crack their first 100, and that's fine if that happens to me, but I'm just setting that goal for myself in this video, just as kind of a, you know, hey, like, we need to get on this kind of thing, you know. I want to really see if I can crack that barrier for myself at the end of the year. And then going forward, what I've decided with this channel now is to kind of niche down. And I'm kind of doing a taboo thing here. Everyone says don't do gaming, don't do gaming. It's useless, it's a whatever. I don't think gaming is useless as a niche. I think gaming is just as important as every other niche. And while it may be oversaturated, while it may be one of the hardest ones you can do, it is necessary for there to be communities and places where gamers can engage in discourse. And I think the big thing I want to do on my channel, which is not like uncommon, but I'm not going to advertise myself as somebody who's really good at video games. I'm not going to advertise myself as somebody who's like deliberately really bad at video games. I want to appreciate games for an art form, down from the soundtracks to the characters to the voice acting. I mean, just to the atmosphere of the game themselves, the creation aspect of it. Because a lot of gaming channels now are essentially about trying to meta the game within the first week. What's the best strat for this? What's the best strat for that? And while those things have their time and their place, and I think they are useful in some cases when you just really can't figure something out, I think what it does, it really cheapens the feel of a lot of games. It makes them die a lot faster than they really would if like everybody's min-maxing, using the same weapons, using the same armor, using the same, you know, routes and missions or whatever. To me, it just cheapens the whole thing. We should be playing games to solve a problem, not, you know, taking the test with the answers next to it. That seems kind of strange to me. And so that's why I really want to focus my channel on just the core aspects of what make games art. I mean, that's the goal, is to keep delivering on that. And more importantly, I really want to try to focus on smaller games, because I just want to give smaller games that may not get like all of the limelight and media shine a platform. Maybe help other people discover games, you know, especially on Steam, that are like 2 or 3 pages in that they've never heard of, but they've got like maybe 500 positive reviews and just no one's playing them. Just stuff like that. Just really cool stuff that is out there that no one's putting any spotlight on. That's what I want to do for the most part, because it's really, really tough to try to compete with really big names who are, you know, playing games that, you know, have come out and they're just buying every single game that comes out, and they have like early access and they got videos on day one. It's really hard for me to keep up with that as it stands, since this is like a hobby at this point and not a full-time job. So I'm going to try to do a mix of both bigger games and smaller games, but probably mostly smaller games, just to kind of differentiate myself from a lot of the other channels. But all in all, I really hope that I can create a community that is, again, all about just the general discourse of games. Games is an art form. Games is something that we all enjoy, you know, good or bad. And just having really good conversations about where we want to see games in the future, where we want to see anime go in the future. Although I think right now anime is in like a really weird spot. Topic for another video. But I just want to talk about all these things that I'm passionate about and share them with people. If all this stuff does well and the community grows, I really want to move on to, you know, variety. I'll still play games, I'll still talk about anime, but I really want to share and voice opinions on a lot more pressing matters to me, especially in like the variety space. Like, I know there's a lot of people who, you know, like eventually like they would probably like to see that. And that's just something I really want to do, because I feel like I have a lot of opinions on things that are, whether you agree with them or don't agree with them, I feel like they should be heard to some degree. Not, and that sounds like super narcissist. I'm not saying that like I'm the voice of moral authority or some type of like higher thinking person, but I've always had a lot to say, and I want to have a place to say them. And I also want to create a space where what you don't see a lot of is that it's not a bunch of people like arguing with each other and creating more division, but having a place where they can agree to disagree, but also find some common ground on everything, from games to anime to social issues, whatever you want to talk about. That's what I want to make this place. But yeah, guys, thank you for sticking with me so far in this video. I promise I'm going to keep getting better at making videos, keep getting better at editing and developing content for you guys. And before I get out of here, I do want to leave you with a quote and just some like friendly words of advice. First thing being that I don't know what situation you're in right now. I don't know who you are or where you are in the world, but I believe it's extremely, extremely important that you always go after your dreams, no matter how crazy they seem. And I'm saying this as like a YouTuber with 25 subscribers. I don't want to sound like really like grandiose or whatever. I'm obviously I haven't made it big, but to me it means a lot just for me to even attempt, because there are so many people in your life who will tell you there's things you can't do and you'll never be something, and this is going to be too hard for you and you can't handle this, and da 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 da. There's going to be all these excuses that people will make for your life, and your response should always be for you to just say, watch me. And that's what I really want to show with this channel, is that no matter what you're trying to do, you can do it within reason if you just put forth the effort. And a great quote that I always like to keep in mind, it's going to be the motto for this channel. I've already put it in my bio, but I just want to declare it officially today in this special video. That and this is a quote from Naruto Uzumaki, because Naruto was one of my first animes that I've watched, and it was probably still to this day one of the most influential that I've watched. But there's a quote where Naruto says, "If you don't like the fate that's been dealt to you, fight for a new one." And I think that's so important, because you have to understand that there's going to be a lot of things in your life that push you into certain things. There's going to be a lot of circumstances that make you feel a certain way, make you feel like you don't have a say or a choice in the matter. And sometimes you really may not. But at the end of the day, it's about how you respond to that. It's about how you decide to move on from whatever situation you're in. And it's basically just saying that you are the master of your own destiny. And I truly believe that for every single person on the planet, for anybody who watched this video, you can be the change, and you can change your life no matter what anybody else says. You can do it. We're all capable of it. We all know the things that we need to do that. It's just a matter of first not being afraid to fail over and over and over and over again if you have to, until you finally get a win. That's going to be all from me, guys. Thank you for watching. If you made it to this video, please like, comment, subscribe if you like my content and are excited for the future. But yeah, that'll be it. Thanks. As always, stay safe, stay blessed. Mills out.